Hi guys, Darth Deuce here on the Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch action figure review. Today we're going to take a look at a figure I've been waiting for since it was announced, and it is the Grand Moff Tarkin figure that was released as part of the solo wave of Black Series figures. Officially released on April 13th. I didn't get mine until April 20th, which was actually the original date these figures were supposed to come out. So I had to wait a week to get these. Not a big deal. This figure's worth the wait. Grand Moff Tarkin is definitely one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, especially one of my favorite original trilogy characters. So I'm really happy that they finally made a figure of this awesome character. So taking a look at him in the packaging first, you've got your standard Star Wars The Black Series packaging. You have Tarkin there with his accessory. You got Grand Moff Tarkin. I apologize for the glares. Pretty cool image of Tarkin, pretty classic image. It's number 63 in the wave. Grand Moff Tarkin. You got a bigger image of that previous one, and then you've got a readout which says, an ambitious, ruthless proponent of military power, Wilhoff Tarkin became a favorite of Emperor Palpatine and rose rapidly through the Imperial ranks. So pretty basic, but if you're a Star Wars fan, you probably know what's up with this guy. So anyway, that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to get him opened up and out of his packaging because I'm really excited to get this guy out. Alright, now I got Tarkin out of the packaging. This is a super cool figure. I really love this figure a lot. I'm probably going to be doing an update on my top 10 Black Series figures pretty soon, and you shouldn't be surprised if this guy makes the list. Definitely helps that I really like the character, but they just did a phenomenal job with this figure. I have my gripes with it, of course, like most figures, but they're minor for the most part. And I'm super happy that they didn't release this figure until they started using the face printing, because this figure wouldn't be nearly as good without that face printing technology that they've started to use. Thank God they've started to use it, because now these head sculpts make their old ones look abysmal in comparison. Or sorry, not sculpts, but paint. So let's take a look at that. And this Peter Cushing face looks fantastic. I think my only real gripe is that some of the printing makes his face look a little glossy in the light, but it's not a huge deal. The eyes look really realistic. You've got those defined cheekbones that you really need for a Tarkin figure. And the wrinkles and whatnot look really, really good. I absolutely like that. Looks awesome. The eyebrows look really good. Super fantastic. The hair looks really good as well. It's a dark gray with some light gray brushed on. I think that looks really good, nice and swept back. Got the ears look good as well. It's just a fantastic head sculpt. Looks really, really good. Then you've got the rest of the figure, which is just pretty much a Imperial officer uniform, but a lot of this is new sculpt. The torso is new sculpt because the Grand Admiral figure had epaulets and this one does not, and the Krennic one had only 2 code cylinders. This one has 4, so it doesn't use either of those bodies. It has a new one of these skirt pieces because this is the first one that they use that does not have a holster on it, I'm pretty sure. I know the hands are new. I'm assuming the arms are new, but they could not be. The only thing I think that's recycled is the legs. I think they're the same legs that Krennic uses. I'm not 100% sure, but looking at them side by side, they look the same. And it makes sense that the legs would be the same, just different paint, obviously. But it's really good, and it's hard to see on camera, because on camera it makes it look more green than it actually is. But I think they nailed the color of Tarkin's uniform. Tarkin's uniform is supposed to be like a mix of gray and olive green. There have been figures released where it's all gray, and there have been figures that, like the Vintage Collection one, the older Vintage Collection one, that was way too green, and I think they got the perfect balance with this figure. Again, it doesn't maybe show as well on camera, but in person you'll definitely see it's definitely more on the gray side, but still has that green tinge that it's supposed to have, so I'm really happy about that. On the torso here, it's pretty good. You got the silver code cylinders, and you've got his rank plaque here. Mine does have a little scuff on the yellow on the edge here, which does kind of suck, but it's not super noticeable, which is good. And the wrinkles and sculpt of his uniform in general look really good, makes it look realistic. He's got his hands here. This one's just kind of a normal sort of holding hand, I guess. This one's pretty cool. He does have a sculpted, I guess, pointing sort of finger, so that's really cool. I like that. And you've got the officer's belt buckle, which looks nice. The lower tunic, which is cut on the sides to allow for more articulation. And you've got the legs. You've got those military-style officer pants, and you've got the boots, which look good. They've got the nice, shiny, glossy black, which I really like. I wish they would use that on the Grand Admiral Thrawn figure, but yeah, this looks really good. And just a fantastic looking figure. Really sculpted everything when it comes to this figure. And I think they did a really good job. Looks really, really good. In terms of articulation, again, he's pretty good as well. You got your standard black articulation. What's interesting is they have used a new joint for the head. They're not using that neck hinge, instead they're using like a double ball joint to get the up and down motion. So the up motion is not as much as maybe you'd want, but you do get decent down. You get a decent amount of pivot, so you can really get this guy sort of getting expressions out of him, which is pretty cool. And it does help, so you don't have that hinge, which you might think looks ugly if he's looking up. So there's that. Ball hinge of the shoulders, which move decently well. The shoulder will go underneath the tunic there, so that's good. Ball hinges of the elbows, which unfortunately only move about 90 degrees. This is one of my, I guess, biggest gripes with the figure, is they gave you the right hand to have it look like he's, I guess, holding it by his chin or cradling his chin or whatever, have his hand by his mouth when he's waiting for his imminent victory against the rebels, but you can't do that because the single hinge doesn't allow you to bend far enough. That is quite unfortunate, but you still, have that finger to do other things, so that's cool, but it's a little unfortunate. Then you have ball hinges at the wrists, ball joint at the torso, which goes up a bit, crunches a decent amount, a little bit anyways, and then rotates and pivots, so that's good. Ball hinges at the hips move pretty good. The upper tunic hinders a little bit, but assuming you're not really going to have this guy in too many crazy poses anyways, so solo cut at the thigh, yep. Double hinges at the knees, and hinges at the ankles with rocker joints. So he has most of the articulation you want for this figure. Now, in terms of accessories, he does come with one accessory, which is a pretty cool one, and it is the interrogation droid. This is really cool, because not only can you use it for this figure, display it with this figure, but you can use it for any other things, and I know toy photographers will go to town with this. You get the Darth Vader 4th anniversary, you can start to recreate those interrogation scenes and whatnot, which is really, really cool. And this guy is pretty neat, so you do get a clear display stand for it. It is on a ball joint. I'm assuming you could pop that out if you wanted to. And the sculpt and paint on this guy is really good. And you got a lot of silver used, some red. It looks really good. You got the truth serum, I guess that's what that is. Truth serum syringe there. You got different apparatuses, I'm assuming, for torture. Really quite cool. I absolutely love this. This is a really cool accessory to get this little droid. And this is what it kind of looks like set up next to Tarkin there. So that is really, really cool. I guess I would have liked to see Tarkin come with a blaster pistol, I suppose. I know he never used any sort of weapons or any other really accessories in the movie, but other Tarkin figures have come with blasters. It would have been nice, but yeah, it's not a big deal. Not like I was really going to display him with it anyways, so it is what it is. Put the droid off the side anyways. We'll do some comparisons real quick just to show him off. So, get him standing. First, here he is with just a standard Stormtrooper. He is the same height as the Stormtrooper. I do want to say I thought Peter Cushing was a relatively tall person, so I almost want to say I think he should be a little bit taller than a Stormtrooper. But it's not really a big deal. I still think it looks good. And I honestly can't remember. I could be wrong on that. Here he is next to one of his rivals here. Here he is next to Krennic. As you can see, with the face print, I still don't hate this Krennic head sculpt. I think it's good, but it's one of the better ones they had before the face printing. But yeah, you can just tell it's no contest how much better the face printing is. This is pretty cool. I'm going to have fun photographing these guys together. Another officer, or the only other officer we have, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think this is awesome. I'm super happy to have all these high High Command, Imperial High Command guys together. I think that's super cool. So that's awesome. And then lastly, here he is next to the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, Darth Vader. And yeah, maybe the scale is actually right, because Tarkin definitely shouldn't be as tall as Vader, so I think they scale in pretty good together, and they look really, really cool together as well. I like that a lot. So, overall, I think this is an absolutely fantastic figure. If you're collecting the Black Series 6-inch line, I see no reason why you should not get this figure. It is really, really good, of a classic OT character. So if you can find them, I definitely recommend you pick them up. You definitely won't regret the purchase. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I will see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.